think this is like actually a medical prop. A bird-eating spider. I don't know how many moths are in here, but probably like close to 100. But that looks great!
So let's start with like everything that makes like MOTHICA. So like you started at like the whole like name and everything.
Yeah.
Started in your dorm when you're at the Pratt Institute?
No, so the name actually started when I was like 15, but then I was trying to find a music name when I started making music, and I almost went by MCKZ. Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't do that because it sounds like MC, like, you know, a DJ. And then I already had MOTHICA. I was like, okay, I have to go by that. And then eventually I moved out and, you know, got some speakers and went to Guitar Center and started doing all that.
Nice. What were like your favorite parts about like going to school, and like I know you had like some harsh teachers.
Oh yeah. It was weird being on my own for the first time because I was like an only child and I was really rebellious, and so I finally like had New York as like my playground. And so I definitely got into some crazy situations. Like I got a fake ID very young, and 18, but would run around, do that. And I really wish I had taken advantage of all the stuff my school had. You know, I kind of appreciate it now, but like, you know, all the facilities and like, but I was a little, I was just ready to move on.
What was it like to like have your first show, like after like getting into all the like playground stuff?
Yeah.
Like 2015?
Yes, yeah.
You put out Mythic and you had your first show, like what was all that like? That sounds crazy.
Well, my first show, I like played 4 songs. I just set up my laptop and like pressed play on the instrumental, and then I just sang with like it plugged into my computer. And I totally felt like it went badly. I like ran off stage, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. Obviously, I kept doing it, but I play with the band now, which really helped my confidence. But it just felt like I was doing karaoke kind of, and that everyone that was being nice was like lying to me.
No.
Yeah, so I definitely feel a lot more confident now. I've only played like probably 60 shows ever, but. Yeah.
Quite a few.
It feels like not that many.
Everything that you're doing in music, like as an independent artist, like streaming, figuring that out. And like, I know that you were also like, you did something that I feel like I don't really see talked about much from artists, which is like all the research that goes into it, like reaching out to like publications.
Yeah.
And like finding people that fit like who you'd want to be like represented under, like for publication.
Definitely.
Like what was it like to like do all that, navigate that on your own?
Well, I always thought I would maybe work for a label or work for other artists, and so I had that, you know, drive in that area, but I like kind of just happened where I put out this EP and it started doing well, and like every major label hit me up, and it was really hard because to me, like I got an email and it said, it was from Island Records or whatever, it was like, we love your music, we would like to set up a call. And I was like, I'm dropping out now, I have a record deal. Like, then I learned that's not how it works. And I kind of had to learn the business of it on my own. And I just like loved, when I grew up in Oklahoma, I loved looking up other musicians, other artists, who they're inspired by. You know, Nylon Magazine was a huge influence on me. And like, just, you know, try to claw my way into that world. Yeah.
With your music, like compared to 2015, now, I mean, in this past year alone, like you've written like really like scary and like vulnerable, honest kinds of like lyrics. Like why the change, and like how did you get into?
I think I've always written about kind of the same things, but they used to be more metaphorical. Like, I don't know, my old songs, they're just like some lyrics that are just like, you would have to really know what I'm talking about to get it. And now I feel more open talking about like drinking or drug use or depression in the lyrics. And I've just kind of been finding like my sound. I was like so resistant to being compared to other artists that I was like not making the music I wanted to make because I thought people would compare me to someone. And then I kind of like didn't make stuff I liked. And now I'm like, okay, I'm back to doing what I want.
Speaking of like your new music, like you put out Blue Hour, and I read, but I don't know if I'm right, like did you like get help during that time?
So I was admitted to a psych ward, and I kind of had this like mental breakdown where I just like, I needed to, I don't know, have a cry for help. And so I started seeing a psychiatrist, I was put on medication, I started going to like therapy, and a lot of it was centered around my drinking, but a lot of my drinking is also from, you know, depression, but then, you know, they kind of like feed into each other. And so, yeah, now I'm sober thanks to all of that I went through, but not on any medications anymore.
You before have like mentioned you didn't want to be seen as just your internet presence, but like now you have like kind of not like an alter ego, but like being MOTHICA, that's like another kind of internet presence. Like, how is it like different from before? Like separating yourself from what people see?
It's hard to separate the two for sure, especially because like there's a lot of people that in my personal life that call me MOTHICA.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's kind of funny. But it's just like, yeah, that's just like my artistic project that I get to funnel everything into, and it's kind of the more like, if you ever see me play shows, I'm always wearing like some sort of crazy outfit, and I get to kind of be the more like glamorous or souped up version of McKenzie.
You have been through like a shit ton. Like you've jumped in front of a car, suicide attempt.
Oh yeah.
That's one. You were
Trauma.
Yes.
Just list it off.
Stabbed yourself.
Oh yeah, girl.
Went to the mental hospital.
Yep.
And your boyfriend had to come
Yes.
see you.
Yeah, good times.
And don't really want to list this fantastic thing, but I mean none of this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But like you were also like sexually abused by your pastor.
Yeah.
Like, is there, I mean, like you've talked about all this kind of stuff in like your music. Like it's been, I don't know how many years, 5, 10?
Yeah. It's been almost, I think it's been like 9 years since the suicide attempts in front of the car. And that was kind of just like the catalyst of everything that happened before, because like I started, you know, smoking weed and smoking cigarettes and drinking like around 13, 14. And then I started going to this youth group, and this youth pastor was in, you know, a position of power and kind of manipulated me. It was really confusing because I didn't, you know, while I like didn't want to do anything, he also was very manipulative. And like, I realized later, you know, that he had a, you know, sex addiction, and like he would talk about it at church and stuff. And then, yeah, he would preach about it, and then he would like drive me home at last and like ask me to do things. And, you know, part of me, I think, thought that it was like my choice, but, you know, when looking back, like I wasn't able to make that decision, you know. Yeah. And I had braces, like I was, you know, turned 13, like, and then, you know, from that, I think I really started rebelling, and then doing more drugs. I got into harder things, like very early on. And my parents didn't know any of this was happening. And then, I got put on antidepressants, I was seeing therapists, and that's when like this, you know, car accident, you know, that was like the crux of all of that.
Yeah.
And it came in waves, and you know, there's a few other times I had like, you know, mental breakdowns that were like really scary. And now I feel really leveled out, especially because I haven't drank in like 10 months or something. And like that like completely got rid of so many issues I was having. I mean, I still definitely like struggle, but it's a lot easier to manage when you like know where your card's at and like are waking up somewhere you remember. And yeah.
So like thinking back on all those times, like your suicide attempt and all that dark stuff, what are some things that you are glad to have survived?
the fact that that didn't happen gives me this like second chance to kind of be who I want to be. And it's always kind of in the back of my mind is like that everything I'm doing right now might have not happened if, you know, things had ended up differently. And so I'm really grateful for that. I have like empathy for my younger self now. And I think there's a lot of young people that felt that same way of like they don't fit in, no one understands them, and like I really want to be able to I guess communicate that like I went through that so harshly and was so hard on myself, and now I've kind of been able to turn it into something beautiful and feel empowered by. Yeah.
I remember reading like really old Tumblr post of yours. But
Ooh.
But you were saying like before you felt like you had to compensate for all the like fucked up stuff like by making art, by making something beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's like cool to see you say that, but in a different headspace where it's like not like as compensation, but as like this is something that happened to me and now I can make beautiful art.
I definitely felt like my only value was, you know, being good at something, that if I was like good at art or music or something, then people would, you know, hang out with me. And it was such a like revenge tactic of like, I'm gonna show them that I'm, you know, talented or whatever. And it was really negative. And there's definitely still parts of me that, you know, get fueled by like anger, but like now I get to like go into the studio and write songs and just like be from a purer place, I guess.
So before all of that, like all the crazy traumatic stuff, like who were you like as a kid, like when you're 5?
Yeah, I was like really, well, I was an only child, but like never stuck to anything. Like I tried like every hobby. I think I was like really restless, and I still kind of feel like I'm, I don't know, I don't want to say like never satisfied with anything, but it was like that, like, you know. And I had all these animals and pets, and my parents like tried to like keep me entertained because I was just this like wild child.
Your parents are like older and you were a child. Like what was it like? I don't know, I feel like that's because I also had the same thing. My mom she's 65 now and I'm 23.
Oh wow, yeah.
I'm an only child, so it's like I feel like for me growing up it was kind of like not lonely, but it was like I have to do everything on my own. Like did you have like any sense of that?
Well, yeah, everyone always thought that my parents were my grandparents.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I kind of always wanted like the, you know, the cool parents that were like hanging out. But I'm glad now that I don't have that, because they did, you know, give me a lot more opportunities, because they were like, their whole lives were like focused on me, you know, and like I'm super grateful for that. But yeah, growing up I felt like they didn't understand, they didn't get it. They were really strict, especially when they found out I was drinking. They would like not let me drive anywhere. They would like so I would set up tents in my backyard, but then I would just sneak things in. So yeah, I found ways around that.
Why did they decide to have you so late? Like for that reason to like?
Well, my parents, it was both of their second marriages, so they got married when my mom was like 39. So they just had a kid like right then.
Oh,
yeah, it was me. Yeah.
Yeah, so you mentioned earlier that like with art that you draw, you never really like draw portraits. Like you like symbols and like skulls. Everything. Like what's the reason behind that?
I think I'm just like kind of inspired by like vintage illustrations and tattoo style things. One, it's like easier, but it's just like it has a, I don't know, a more distinct look to it.
What are the tattoos you have?
Oh, so many.
Yeah.
So
How many?
Many. I probably have like, I don't know, but I have my entire arm.
Oh,
yeah. So it goes. And then I have, you know, a moth.
Nice, of course.
Yeah, I have a big moth on my legs. We can't see those, but yeah, name of my EP, Heavy Heart, just kind of from a Florence and the Machine song. Got a medieval weaponry. Yeah.
Why weapons?
I don't know. I just love the way they look. I almost got a guillotine, but I ended up going with the flail instead.
Who are you like beyond like your music and your art and stuff?
Do I have an identity as a real person? I don't know. I think I'm like really curious, and I just love learning. I get really obsessive about things, which is why I think I was, into art, and then now the new thing's music, and right now the new thing I'm kind of obsessive about is like music videos and like film. I'm like constantly meeting directors and trying to like, one, on a budget, like make my visions come to life. And so I'm like constantly researching that, cinematography, and just like educating myself so that I can make things I'm proud of. Yeah.
How are you able to like make all your like music and like your short documentary and stuff? Like, did you have like any kind of like part-time job, or was it just straight up music?
Yeah, so I do voiceover acting on the side.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, so I was the voice of a children's book.
That's right.
Yeah, I definitely did not sound like this. Yeah, for Scholastic. And so that was helping. And then I do write like jingles and commercial songs that you will never hear because they're like, ooh, yeah.
You gotta sell your soul a little.
Yeah, sell my soul a little. And yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Cool. And what about like your dating life?
Ooh.
Like I've seen like all your Tinder and Bumble posts.
Yeah, my Twitter is like literally just posting about like funny Tinder experiences.
Yeah. I've seen like the screenshots. Some of those guys are like cringy.
Yeah, I get a lot of nice tats and what does your music sound like or whatever, which I'm like, I don't want to be interviewed like in this. But I've had some crazy stories for sure. One time, not too long ago, I was on the way to a Tinder date and I started feeling really sick, and I was on this medication that said like not to eat bananas.
Okay.
And so I had one banana and I was like,
why did you eat a banana?
Well, I did. So I thought I was overdosing on potassium, and I called him. I was like, I just called the paramedic. Like, I don't think I can come here, but I gave him my address. So both the Tinder date and the paramedic showed up at the same time, and they were like doing blood test on me, and they were like, how many bananas did you eat? And I was like, one. They're like, you would have to eat like 17 bananas. And I was like, basically, they said I just needed protein and I hadn't eaten enough that day. And, but they were talking to my Tinder date as if he was like my boyfriend.
Oh my God.
And that was our first time meeting.
Are you guys still talking?
No, but he took me to Denny's and I had some eggs.
Nice.
And
Denny's?
yeah.
This is a solid spot.
Another one, I met a Tinder, I had a tattoo appointment and I invited a first date to the tattoo appointment.
These are fun dates. What the heck? Like really random.
Yeah. I mean, the paramedic one.
It's interesting though.
Yeah. I kind of like to put people in weird situations.
Okay.
Or like invite them out to like a group of my friends and just see how they do. Yeah.
Testing the waters.
Testing, yeah.
What about like politics and stuff? Like I know you're not a fan of Trump and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like thinking of doing anything like more politically?
Yeah, I did get asked to play a show for Andrew Yang's campaign.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Are you voting for him?
I'm not sure, but I love what his message is.
I also another old Tumblr post of yours, but like you said one of your goals was to live in a loft.
Oh yeah.
With concrete walls, open floor plan, a Sphinx cat in the city, and in a relationship with someone. Like how would you say like your life right now is living up to that, and do you have like a completely different goal of what you imagine for yourself?
I probably won't own a Sphinx cat, but yeah, it's always I'm allergic. They're awesome, but I think I just want to have this like kind of artist compound that's like has a studio and I can do visual art there, and like I just want the freedom to be able to create, all these ideas. And right now I'm kind of restricted by like, budgets and all of that, but yeah, that's a huge goal of mine, but I'm kind of a long way from that.
So we just did our interview with MOTHICA, McKenzie over here, and we had our drawings and we did a little tour. And I just want to say thank you for having us over. Like, had a really good time.
Thank you so much for coming over. You helped me clean my apartment.
Nice, yeah.
Frantically before you got here.
Cool.